Peter Claver School, primarily African American school, 122 years old, and his company, the Lightning, wonderful. You've done so much for us. We're African American school. The nun who's the principal there, you took her to a game. She wondered why they got in a fight. She was saying they need to be in timeout. Then they went in the penalty box, so she went real quick. But you all have done, we've won awards from your community hero, so they have made a difference in our market, especially for St. Peter Claver. Now my question I wanted to ask you is, my background is the travel industry, and we're used to being cheerleaders for the area. It's very refreshing to see people like you who just, do it. Other than buying the Lightning, what was the reason that made you so enamored of the area? Just interesting.
My introduction to this area, the whole Tampa Bay area, is when I purchased the Lightning. But I'm an analyst by training, and 2009, 2010, decided I wanted to buy a hockey team. First thing I did after making that decision, it's fun, and it's an easy question rather than a hard one somebody else may ask. But I was at a concert with a friend of mine, and we were having a couple of glasses of wine, turning 50 years old at the time, and I looked at him and I said, what am I going to do for fun the rest of my life? I don't like playing golf. I like museum and the arts, but I don't want to go to them every day with my wife. I like sports a lot. I said, I'm going to buy a hockey team. And that's a true story. The next day I woke up, this is true too, so you may have some questions about me after this. First thing I did was I Googled how to buy a sports franchise. First thing I Googled. And it is true, I probably did it more than once. It said 1, be rich, 2, know people, 3, it went down. So anyway, I bought a bunch. I didn't go along those lines, but I bought a bunch of books, textbooks on sports management, educated myself, met the Boston owners. I lived up there at the time. I knew a bunch of them, and over 6 months, just immersed myself in that, like I've done in real estate over the last couple of years, just learning as much as I can. Not an expert, but at least I can ask the expert's question. And then as an analyst, stock market analyst by training, I started looking at all the available teams. This was 2010, which was obviously the depths of a terrible recession. And there were potentially 10 or 12 teams for sale. And I looked at the time, Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay, Florida Panthers, Atlanta Thrashers who were there at the time, Nashville, Columbus, Washington, New York Islanders, New Jersey Devils, I said Nashville, St. Louis, Dallas, and Phoenix. I looked at all these teams, and so I analyzed. And the first question was, well, I know it's important to be part of the community wherever wherever I bought a team was going to be critically important. That's if I'm going to be an owner, I'm going to do the best I can to be a good owner. And it's like, okay, do I want to live in Buffalo or do I want to live in Tampa Bay? That wasn't too hard. So you've eliminated like all of them but 2 or 3 at this point, right? And I came down here. The people were so friendly. There had been success with hockey here, quality of life, and the weather, and the beaches, and the culture, and a good young team, good young players. And I analyzed all these factors, and this place. I hope it won. I mean, I love it here, so I hope it's to win. So. Right here.
I live in North Tampa.
Mister.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'll yield.
Go ahead, I don't have a mic.
She doesn't have Ma'am, welcome.
Mary Lou.
Thank you. My name is Mary Lou Tuttle. I live in North Tampa, drive up and down Fowler Avenue. And I'm looking, every time I go by there, I look at the museum, history museum, science museum. And I wonder how in the world can you put that downtown, because up there they have enormous buildings, they have places for buses, they have, it's just set up for a big, big place. And how come you can put it downtown? I can't imagine.
Thank you for the question. I think it's a great question, and I think that you've hit across on the biggest issue that we discussed with the board of directors of Mosey and the county, which, as you know, owns the land and owns the building. First of all, I am not going to move Mosey downtown. We're gonna have discussions with the board of directors of Mosey, with the county, and we're doing a feasibility study, it's about to start, to decide whether they think, this is not my, whether they think it makes sense, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. And you're right, the number one factor, 4,000 kids go to Mosey, go to camp there, right? What's gonna happen to those 4,000 kids? So part of our plan, if we think it's in everybody's best interest, if we can get a much better facility, a much newer facility, a much better programming inside, we sure better have that transportation working well to bring the people from North Tampa, from North Hillsborough County to downtown. We better have that working like clockwork, because we're not doing it. We'd like to believe that the audience we can serve with Mosey will double or triple and visit. That Science Museum is a great asset of a community. We'd like to think that we can reach 2 or 3 times as many people, but if we can't keep providing that great service to everybody in northern Hillsborough County, then, we've got to think twice about it, because we have to serve you.
How many square
Back
feet,
here.
square miles do you have? We sure can down.
We have 40 acres downtown, but there are many cities where science museums are in an urban setting. There will be most of it indoors, but there'll be an outdoor portion too. Between that and the University of South Florida School of Medicine, the History Center, the Aquarium, they're developing quite a STEM district down there, so there are a lot of other attractions. But we definitely, that transportation is critical that you worry about.
Question in the back.
Please.
Mr. Vinik, my name is Joe O'Neill. We've been hearing a lot that Hillsborough County is getting close to landing a Fortune 500 relocatee here for headquarters. Rick Homans and others have indicated that there is interest out there. In your experience, so far, on a scale of 1 to 10, say, how close do you feel that you are to landing that corporate headquarter relocation here? And part 2, when you are talking with people and they raise maybe a devil's advocate question about this area, what's the role of modern transit in such discussions? But number 1, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you?
Yeah, I think I'll regret it if I answer that question with a number. But let me say this. We are in as Rick Homans has said, and I pretty much said, we are in a number of conversations with corporate headquarters, and there are a couple of them that recently moved to the southeast where we made the very short list, where in one case there were 47 cities. They cut it to 11, then they cut it to 5, and we were in the final 5 for that. So we are getting closer and we are resonating with some of them. There are several major prospects out there. We are having discussions with them. One thing I would like to do, though, is I would like to, really the objective, we want to bring a Fortune 500 company here. I do believe we will, and hopefully in the next year or 2. But I think really what we want to do is bring high-paying jobs here. And if you give me a little bit of space and a little bit of room and allow me to keep the corporate 500 headquarters, but also expand that category to thousands of high-paying jobs related to Fortune 500 companies, I think you're going to see really good news here over the next couple of years. Thousands of jobs high-paying jobs related to Fortune 500 companies. Doesn't mean we're not going to get Fortune 500 headquarters also, but let's not turn away 2,000 high-paying jobs because it happens to be a regional headquarters, not a corporate headquarters.
My name's Al McCrae. I don't follow hockey mainly because all the players have names with 15 syllables. I can't pronounce. And none of the players can I relate to. My question to you, when are you going to recruit black players from Poland?
Do you know of any? If you come down to our camp, which is starting today actually, we have 3 African Americans, one on our team and 2 who are trying out. The number of African Americans in hockey has increased significantly over the last few years. We have a ways to go, and part of that is what we're doing with our youth experts. I mean, it's expensive to play hockey for all kids. Part of it is in concert with Bauer and Chase, are great partners. Part of it is getting sticks and balls away, giving uniforms away. We give a lot of sets of equipment away, and hopefully, it's not just us, it's happening around the country. So hopefully the minorities in hockey will increase dramatically in the years ahead. The best word, sure.
And street hockey, Dave Tarvis.
Yes, and 100,000 kids for street hockey, which is get a stick in kids' hands and a pretty happy wow. The other kid next to him is.
Pat Kemp, I wanted to just thank you so much for bringing Jeff Speck to Tampa. He's the author of the Walkability book, and I just think that there could be, that could almost alone be such a big game changer. And I hope, I'm glad that you're sharing it with the community and those ideas. And I wondered also your sensibilities about how you'll develop that area. I'm just very, very excited about. I think that says so much about what you're going to do down there. I wondered if you could talk just a little bit about where you get that from and why you brought it in.
Jeff Speck is the renowned author of Walkable Cities, and it's basically, you read it, it's actually very simple, and it's like, he says throughout, everybody knows this, you just never really thought about it. Simple things like two-way traffic, slows down traffic, but, because right now in front of, on Channelside Drive, in front of our arena, well, when the ground's not torn up, the cars are going 40 and 50 miles an hour, right now they're not. So we finally slow down traffic. We can slow down traffic in our whole district. But Jeff is fantastic. So I read his book a year ago over Christmas break. I've been reading a bunch of books on urban design, and he was explaining, the basic principles of when you walk along a street, you need continuous storefront, you need buildings that are, wide sidewalks, 20, 25 feet wide, buildings right up to the street with interesting stuff going on, whether it's a restaurant and a retail or a gym or art gallery, etc., so that the consumers will want to walk the half mile from one end of the street to the other. And that's for people who live there, visit there, work there, etc. And there are a bunch of other principles involved, but it really resonated with I made my, it was like December 27th, and I sent an email to our whole team, you all have to read this book before we get back. I don't know if anybody did, it was over Christmas. I know Tom Wiki did, but, and then also I read a bunch of, as we also went out and met with probably between 10 and 20 other Jeff Specks out there, leaders in urban planning, leading developers, and we've just tried to immerse ourselves in everything about creating the best walkable 24/7 district that will appeal to all constituencies. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Lawson, and I'm going to build on what she just asked you. As I'm sure you know, Jeff Speck is actually a pretty outspoken critic of highway expansion. Many are saying that a better investment for attracting jobs to this area would be instead of spending billions on that, would be to invest in public transportation. What do you say about that?
I'd answer the way I did before, and Jeff Speck is very strongly opinionated. And I agree with most of what he says. I don't agree with everything necessarily what he says. But, we have transit, I'll go back to my answer before, we have transit challenges in this area. We very much want to see the streetcar downtown, maybe to the airport in the not too distant future, become a real viable means of transportation. We wanted the streetcar, which goes obviously from Ybor in front of our building, and then toward the downtown. We wanted to loop all the way within the downtown. We're hoping to work with this, and we've been working with the mayor on this over the next 3-4 years. We'd like that to happen. That would be a great demonstration project of how transit can actually move people and take cars off the road and create a better environment, development also. And perhaps there's more expansion from there. I really find that I try to read, honestly, I read as much as I can about transportation to try to understand it. If it were simple, we'd all, things would have passed years ago, we'd all have made more progress on it. But, every situation is different, whether it's more wider highways or express busway lanes light rail, et cetera. It's complicated equations, and that's why I think we've all struggled a bit with it. But, you know, I will reiterate, improving transportation around here is critical in years ahead.
Hi there, Jeff. My name's Asher Edelson. I'm a student at HCC and a proud member of Tiger Bay. I have actually a two-part question for you. The first part is, approximately how much money have you invested in the developments going on right now in Channelside? First part of the question.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we've done. How's that? We bought the Tampa Bay Lightning, so there's an arena there. We bought the Marriott Waterside Hotel, which is a significant investment of money. We own the land when we bought the Lightning on either side of the Amalie Arena. We bought another 30 acres of real estate around there, and you know, if you do enough digging, you can figure what land costs. Channelside Bay Plaza, we put some money to get a hold of that property. Roadway improvements are going on, there's money going into that, and by the way, part of that is generously paid for by the city and county out of their CRA funding. And if you ask me that question 5 years from now, the answer would probably be significantly over $1 billion.
Okay, so I can assume that's probably gone up since then. So the second part of my question is, since you're putting, you and your business ventures are putting a lot of money into Channelside, approximately how much money in comparison are you putting into the poorer communities in Tampa, especially Ybor and parts of Tampa with crumbling roadways and other difficulties? Thank you.
We try to do the best we can. We have a couple things going on that we haven't publicized. We've just talked about the $6 million 5-year program for youth hockey. I like to think of that as going in the community. $9 million we've given to, the Lightning Foundation has given to 200 or so grassroots organizations throughout the community. My wife and I have given to the JCC where kids can go to. We've given to the aquarium where people can attend, et cetera. There's quite a long list, and we try to do our part.